Om Guruve Namaha. I was introduced to the practice of Sushumna Kriya Yoga on the 17th of November 2014 at the Koti Deepa Dharadni Puja, which happened in Hyderabad. Sri Lakshmi Garu and Prashanti Garu had instructed me and initiated me into Sushumna Kriya Yoga. During the event, which lasted for a 10-minute practice session, I learned the technique and I was instructed to follow the same for 49 minutes every day for 49 days. At that time, let me tell you, I did not know the power of Sushumna Kriya Yoga. However, being a staunch believer in the meditative practices and its benefits, the very first day, as soon as I went back home, I practiced the technique that was given to us, the same technique that Pujya Amma Garu has just initiated you all into. And right from the first day, I had wonderful experiences. Here are a few that I would like to share before you, in the hope that as I have benefited from it personally, each of you would also find your benefits and would rise up in your journey of realization and liberation. The very first night when I practiced the yoga, I went into Yoga Nidra, which is deep meditative sleep. During that time, I was in a lot of stress. Physical stress in terms of stretched work hours, emotional stress in terms of my ill health. My mom, who was suffering from diabetes, was also not doing particularly well at that time. Apart from this, there were tensions at office. There were disagreements with my boss and some of my colleagues as well. However, with the practice, in less than 10 days' time, I learned to completely give away my stress. I was not only happy, but I was also completely free of stress. The work still remained the same. The disagreements at office were there, but I realized how not to get inflicted by these mundane human tasks and actions. This gave me a lot of better feeling, permanent feeling of well-being, and also helped me cope up with my colitis. Colitis is a medical condition where you have severe bleeding in your intestines, and I was suffering from colitis during those months. The bleeding was so severe that the doctors told me that allopathy medicine has no known cure for such a condition. The only tablets that were available would keep it controlled, but there would still remain the bleeding and the symptoms. With the practice of Sushumna Kriya Yoga, in less than 10 days' time, I not only controlled my stress, my bleeding completely stopped. This was a turning point for me. I would only like to bend and bow before the Pujya Gurus who have given this technique to all of us. The miracles didn't stop there. They continued. Like our Pujya Gurus have promised, within the first month of practice, I found myself in the august audience of Mahavatar Babaji Garu. Mahavatar Babaji had himself manifested in his physical form in one of my meditative sessions. How I got this vision was that in the deep state of meditation, where you're actually thoughtless, I was carried away into a time beyond time, a place which I never knew, which in this birth, this being had never been to. I was reminded of a golden palace studded with jewels, and this was the place which I later, upon reading the autobiography of a yogi, chapters 14 and 17, realized that it was the same place where Mahavatar Babaji had created a palace out of thin air to instruct Lahari Mahasaya into the holy philosophy and tradition of Kriya Yoga. But this revelation happened after the fact that I was in the vision first and then realized that it was Babaji Garu, and I was in the august presence of not only Babaji, but also Lahari Mahasaya and several other great souls. There were many other beautiful incidents that happened in the month of January, which was only the third month of my meditation. I would also like to recall here that on 14th December 2014, when Pujyamai Shri Atmanandamai Amma Garu had conducted a camp in Hyderabad at Shilpakala Vedika, amidst the audience, I was one among 2,000 odd souls who were being initiated into the Kriya by Amma Garu herself. This day, I experienced a being beyond being. I was no longer I. An infinite love began from within my heart, and it spread out within the hall, across the state, across the country. It engulfed the globe. I lost identity of myself. The aham or the ego, the I-ness in me was gone. The being that thus emerged, engulfed with love, with bliss, with pure happiness, entire globes, entire galaxies, and it went expanding all through the universe, and I experienced oneness. So it would be wrong if I say I would say this being, this little life was given a glimpse of eternal oneness. I realized that I'm not I'm not this body, I'm not just this soul, but we are all one. I experienced the state of perfect being, amness. There is no identity. You, me, our beloved gurus, we are all one. This experience was granted to me in the presence of Pujya Amma Garu herself on the 14th December 2014. Then, during the month of January, my mom, who was a diabetes patient, had been suffering, and her diabetes sugar levels shot up to 440, alarming indeed. However, through the practice of Sushumna Kriya meditation, as promised, it's not only that we realize the benefits, but our environment also gets cleaned. Time and the whole universe conspires to give you what you deserve. And in this sense, Mom very quickly recovered in less than 14 days as I continued my practice of meditation. I had a new boss at office who was more understanding. So how could things at office change? Definitely, these are things which are way beyond just coincidences. My new boss not only understood my problems, but also has now agreed to help me shift to my base location from Hyderabad to Kolkata, where I could take care of my mom now, who needs my support. I have been always eating outside, and after my colitis experience, Sushumna Kriya Yoga has also brought me into certain discipline in my life, certain changes in lifestyle. Today, I cook for myself, and I stay in perfect control of not just the physical being, but also the emotional being and the spiritual being. I would thank all our Puja Gurus who have brought this Kriya Yoga tradition, and I would request all of you here who are getting initiated today, please continue to practice Sushumna Kriya Yoga and realize its benefits with all due respects and obeisances to Sri Bhoga Siddhar, to Sri Mahavatar Babaji, and Pujya Sri Atmanandamaya Amma Garu. I would take leave, leaving you with this one message. Let this not be the first day alone. Please continue and realize the benefits. Your spiritual journey will not only be faster, but you're sure to get the experience of self-realization and eventually liberation. Thank you, one and all. Wishing you all the best.